Yo, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing today? Hope y'all having a fantastic day. I will be present. My name is Paul Terry, and I will be presenting my IPP over employment discrimination. So, what is employment discrimination? Employment discrimination is a form of prejudice which is based on race, gender, religion, national origin, physical or mental ability, age, sexual orientation, or gender identity. This occurs when a job applicant or employee is treated with inequality during any of the job application or uh, job application process or while being on the job, whether it's training or in the workplace. Some anti-employment discrimination laws that the U.S. has put in place to slow down employment discrimination are the Title VII Civil Rights Act, Human Rights and Equal Opportunity Commission Act of 1986, and the Workplace Relations Act of 1996. So, to begin things off, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act is a federal law which prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex, race, color, national origin, and religion. Not only for is this applied for public businesses, but it could also be applied for private or public colleges, employment agencies, and labor organizations. Uh, the only bad part about this is that it only applies to companies that have more than 15 or more employees. So, I mean, the companies that are small businesses or are individually owned or run, they do not qualify for this, and it kind of sets them back. The next one is the Human Rights Act and Equal Opportunity Commission Act of 1986. This act was put in place to prohibit discrimination against age, criminal record, psychiatric disability, sexual orientation, nationality, trade union activity, and political persuasion. The final one that I'm talking about today is Workplace Relations Act of 1996. This act made it illegal to terminate employment employees based off of activity of the union membership, whether they're involved or not involved, absent from work during maternity leave, or race, color, sex, marital status, family responsibilities, religion, political opinion, national extraction, or social origin. So, the federal agency that is put in place to fight employment discrimination is the EEOC. This agency is responsible for enforcing federal laws that make it illegal to discriminate against a job applicant or an employee. The only downside to this is that the EEOC only protects companies that have 15 or more employers. Like I said earlier, the small businesses or the individually run companies are not protected by the EEOC, and they do fall victimized to employment discrimination as well. So the EOC, like I said, they're supposed to prevent work to investigate discrimination while also trying to prevent it. These laws relate to all types of work situations. So the issues that the U.S. is having with employment discrimination is that the EEOC does close on more than 100,000 cases, but many of them are unsolved or don't even get solved at all. They fall through the cracks, and none of the victims find relief at all. Some other differences are that in the employment workplace now there are five different generations. So there is some generational differences, and uh, companies need to put a policy in so that employers can work together and find what they have in common instead of finding what they don't have in common. And the five generations that are in the workplace are traditionalists, baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, and finally Generation Z. Also, another problem is that companies are having a lack of diversity training. What that means is that employers go through training, but they're not trained about other cultures, other religions, other people's norms, any type of that. So that needs to be fixed because that also contributes to employment discrimination, and it needs to be a policy so that employers know what to do and know what to expect from them. The last and final issue I'm going to talk about is employment discrimination cases make the company look bad. It's plain and simple. Any employment discrimination case makes the company look bad because, I mean, what do you think? It makes it look racist, prejudice. You know what I mean? It's just not. It doesn't give a good look or a good reputation for the company because obviously something is going down under the sheets. So some statistics of 2017 from the EOC on employment discrimination. You can see that the highest percentage is retaliation, with race and disability following close second and third. The last one finally being genetic information with only 0.2% of cases filed. But these percentages go over 100% because they happen on various cases. There's multiple cases of each one, so that is why it goes over 100%. So how can the U.S. fix employment discrimination? Well, in my opinion, I think we can get companies to hire more minorities in upper level jobs by maybe making another federal law to put that in place to make sure that employers have to have certain minorities or a certain number of minorities in upper level manager positions. Not all of them. I'm not saying to just go and hire out all the minorities just because. I'm just saying to get a little diversity and some manager positions that can control what's going on in the business. Another one is I put employers can implement new policies that make employment discrimination absolutely unacceptable. So what I mean by that is that if a job for a job application, the future employee must be known that employment discrimination is absolutely unacceptable. Whether they put it in the job application or it's in the interview, whatever they need to set the bar straight. Any employment discrimination will get you fired or terminated. And then the last one is employers can establish an effective diversity training course that will require a completion signature from the worker. So what that does is that, first of all, it makes the worker actually have to sit through the training course, the whole training course without skipping and all that, and finding another way to do things. And next, it will be effective for the company not only because diversity, but it will also persuade people to come to the company, maybe buy some more products from the company, invest in some stocks just because they have more minorities in the company. So my conclusion for employment discrimination. So overall, the EEOC has fought over 1 million cases since 2010. But 80% of those customers do not find relief, so that means the system is failing. Why is the system failing? Because during my research, I found that most of these cases are retaliation cases, or they're unlawfully suited. And then for more federal laws need to be put in place. Like I said, maybe a federal law to get more minorities in upper level positions, and also that any company that faces employment discrimination faces a harsh punishment for the whole company and not just the owner. And then the EEOC needs to have more money to be effective. I was researching, and they're understaffed, underpaid, and the government is not regulating that correctly. So what that means for the EOC is that they're having to face all these cases, but they don't have the money or the staff to get it right. They're failing the system, and they're failing the victims who are victimized by employment discrimination. So that's my IPP over employment discrimination. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Y'all have a good day. Here's my works cited, and peace.